My mother was a registered nurse, and great. I was very fortunate to have good, solid parents. And as you know, today, that's one of the things that's lacking in our society. Is a lot of times people are raised by single parents or whatever the case may be, and then they go to school, and I don't know what they're teaching them there. Well, the absolute truth is, my dad never graduated from college.
Oh.
What happened was he was so smart, poor dad, that he got his bachelor's in 2 years. They gave it to him because he was so far ahead of the thing. And then he went, he became a professor at not Arizona State, but University of Hawaii. And so I grew up in kind of the professor type role, and then he went to Stanford, University of Chicago, Northwestern. But even then, he never got a degree, but they gave him an honorary PhD because he was so smart. And meanwhile, he had me as a son, and I was flunking out of school. So, as they say, the cobbler's kids has no shoes. In this case, superlative education sons had no brains. So I flunked out of high school twice. I flunked out when I was 15, and I flunked out when I was 17. And it wasn't that I couldn't study, it's just I didn't like school. I flunked English twice when I was 15 and 17 because I can't write, and today I'm a best-selling author. So it just shows you that school is not the be-all, end-all to everybody. My rich dad said to me, I said, what do I have to do to be an entrepreneur? Because my poor dad wanted me to be a pilot, fly for the airlines, and be an employee. And I didn't want to do that. He said that my poor dad said, become an employee, fly for United Airlines, which my classmates did, and then get your PhD. And I went, I don't want to do that. So I asked my rich dad, what should I do? He was my best friend's father. I want to be an entrepreneur like him and an investor. He says, you have to learn how to sell. But this is the interesting thing, Vlad. My poor dad and my family, because they're all PhDs, right? Teachers. They thought salesmen were the scum of the earth. So when my poor dad, my rich dad said to me, you have to get a job in sales, I had to go against my poor dad again. Do you know what I mean? It's like the PhDs think salesmen are scum. So I went, oh my God, so I argued and bitched and moaned with my rich dad. And I said, I don't want to learn how to sell. I don't want to sell. Tell me something. Tell me what I can do. Go back to school. He says, you have to sell. And finally, rich dad said to me, he says, because I was arguing, he says, Robert, how's your sex life? Well, after I couldn't fly him into the deserted islands in Hawaii, my sex life was none. So I looked at my rich dad and I said, I don't have a sex life. Because you can't sell, you idiot. So with that, I went against, again, my poor dad's wishes, PhD, Stanford, University of Chicago, Northwestern, and I got hired by Xerox to learn how to sell. I never invest in stocks. I don't trust the stock. I don't trust the stock market. You can. I'm not saying don't do it. I just don't trust them. In other words, these guys who are financial planners are sales guys.
Yeah.
They're not rich people. They're not really investors.
Right.
And so I'm not saying it's wrong, but I don't have a 401k. I don't save money, and I don't invest in the stock market. I am an entrepreneur. I can create my own assets. And the reason I like real estate is I kind of have to do it on my own. I'm not buying there's a thing called REIT, Real Estate Investment Trust.
Right.
So you can invest in real estate via paper, which is REITs. You can invest in gold via, GLD,
right.
an ETF, or an SLV, which is silver. I don't touch any of that stuff. I own my own gold mines. I own my own silver mines. I took one of my gold mines public last summer, 2022, on the New York Stock Exchange. It's the richest gold mine in America. The rich don't tell people what they know. You know, I don't, you know how many times I've met, one of my best friends just sold his business for $2 billion. He and I started at Xerox together, by the way. And I asked him if he'd come and speak at my company. He says, no. They don't want to tell people what they do. So there is a rich dad. When I asked him if he would help me, he says, no. And that was my poor dad. He said, I'll make a lot more money. So he got a high-paying job, and he kept going back to school, you know, so he get a more high pay. And my rich dad says, no, it's measured in, wealth is measured in time. So if you quit your job, how long can you survive? So the average person, I don't know what the averages are anymore, but the average American cannot survive more than a month. You know, before their savings or the bill collectors drag them off to jail or something. So a lot of Americans make a lot of money, but they have no time on their money. They cannot survive. So it's a very important question. I mean, it's probably one of the most important questions you can ask, that we should ask the people listening. If you lost your job, let's say you're married, husband and wife and all this stuff, you know, and you lost your income, how long would you survive? And that's wealth. And so that's why today my wealth will go on for generations, you know, because I have real assets. If you lose your job and you stop working, how long will you survive? Because you don't have to lose your job. I'm saying, if you stop working, how long would you survive? Mm-hmm. And for most people, it's the next paycheck.
Yeah.
They're gone. So they might make a lot of money, but they won't survive. So they have money, but they're not wealthy. Wealth is measured in time. So if I stop today, my wealth will go on for probably 100-something years. It could be as simple as writing a book. Mm-hmm. Or you could buy a stock, or you could buy a bond. You know, let's say the bond is paying you 5%. I don't trust bonds either.
Yeah.
But that's the difference. It's all what your cash flow is. So if you have cash coming in, more cash coming in from the bond, let's say, than cash went out, it's an asset.